I'm John Treese Wells.
And I'm Erica Fernandez.
And welcome to Beyond Legacy.
Beyond Legacy.
Man, we are excited that you're here. Thank you for joining
us.
If you hadn't, this is our second episode of our first season. If you hadn't seen the first episode, go back, watch that first, and then come join us here.
Yes,
How you doing today, Erica?
I'm doing good. I'm doing pretty good today. Yes.
Good.
How are you?
You know, I'm great. And I'm excited about what we're going to talk about today. In our first episode, we kind of touched on community a little bit, right?
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. We kind of dabbled into it. But I really want to kind of talk about it a little bit more because community for me is so important. And I didn't realize how important it was until the last maybe 3 years, maybe 4 years, coming out of the pandemic and all of that was going on.
Or during the pandemic, formed community.
Absolutely. And so, you know, I want to just kind of dive in on, you know, how community is for you. How do you see community? How we kind of joined a community. And I kind of feel like the pandemic did that for us a little bit, right?
I think it did that. We were on this journey of business partners together. And then when the pandemic hit, we had to pivot, as we say, figure out what we're going to do and how we're going to actually continue working during that time. And I think that bonding happened during that season. So we became a really bonded community. We wanted to go through a season of trying to figure this thing out, and it became closer. And that's how we started that journey.
Yeah, we did. And, you know, so just for you guys know, Eric and I are business partners. We work in the finance industry. We're both licensed professionals. And so we kind of partnered and developed an office, a firm. And we're just taking this kind of one thing at a time and learning how to be an impact to our community and how we can really serve our community. And so during the formative years of our business, we opened our office here where we're located, and that really kind of tied us. But let me tell you, Eric and I have known each other for 20 plus years, a little bit aging ourselves a little bit. We met in church, and we knew each other, we knew of each other, but never really kind of dived in and kind of got connected until recently. And I am very appreciative of this woman right here. She has given me so much wisdom and encouragement, and just, you know, being able to do life with her in learning parenting and dating and all of these things. And that's what community is designed for.
Yeah, I appreciate that, John Treese, for saying those things. But what we need to really understand, too, is that even though we have this age difference, right, we can always glean from what you're going through. And sometimes it seems like at your age, you're dealing with something different. And you will really understand that, you know, at our age, we're dealing with the same thing, just a different, you know, environment of it, right? You ask the question of community, what does that look like? And I sort of think about compartments of community, right? There's your community of work at your job. You go, if you go to 9 to 5, you have the community of workers. When you leave there, you be like, okay, good, that's them, right? Then you have the community of family. When you get together and there's maybe close family members that you kind of knit with, and you guys talk and you talk about family stuff, or you do something together. And then there's this amoeba of family, of friend, family, business partners that come together, and out of that birth what we really have. We started with the business, and then we went into this Bible study with Valerie Burton, the 40 strategies of succeeding, right? And, you know, when we approached that, we were like, oh, no, we're not ready because it's too much in my head, and she's going to do way too much. But then as we began to go through chapter by chapter, we allowed ourselves, and this is the word, to be vulnerable. Right? Because that vulnerability allowed us to be, to talk about it, connect through it, and recognize, even though there's a generational gap, man, you go through that too? I thought it was just us older people. Or you go through that too? I thought it was just us younger people. So it allowed us to be vulnerable and then open up and say those things that you never thought you would say in front of a group of ladies. but you submitted to that. And when you submit in community, be vulnerable in community, then you get a community of people that's willing to actually surround you with things that you need to make it through the hour, the day, the week, the relationship, the bills, the fun, whatever it is. Go and do life together. That is what community does. And it when you can actually be vulnerable and expose yourself and not care, you know, you could do that. And that's when you know you're in real community, right? When you can say something, be like, that's not, you know, here's how you can handle that better. And here's what we would do. And you get those perspectives. And not that you need to go regurgitate and do those things, but just say, man, I heard that from people who care about me, people who really wants me to actually grow and be better. Let me see how I need to incorporate that, pieces of that in my life. And now in community could see the growth in each one of us individually and collectively.
No, that's huge. I mean, you've hit on so many points, and I'm gonna pull out two key words that you said. You said vulnerability and submitted. To be vulnerable, you have to trust the community that you're in, right? It has to become a safe space, and I have to feel safe in being able to say what I need to say without any true judgment. And the judgment is not against me, but maybe just, hey, let's look at it a little bit differently. But it's not a tear down or a condemnation of, well, why would you say that, or why would you do that, or you know, any of those things. It's a safe space to be able to say, guys, this is where I'm at today, or
this is what I did.
This is what I did, or
this is how you can clean that up, right? You need to clean that up a little bit.
And so it's very important to know and to feel safe in your community, and that kind of happens over time. Like when I first meet somebody, I'm not going to just tell them everything about it.
You know, I don't.
No, you don't.
I'm going to have to try you out for a minute. I'm going to have to listen to you, check you out a minute.
And I'm looking at you side-eye like,
side-eye is the way. You know me. It's like, oh yeah.
So but I think it's important that, you know, over time in building those relationships that you test it, right? Maybe let me say this and see what happens here. And it got out over there. Okay, well, we know we can't do that with you. Or oh, you're judging or you're condemning me, and you've changed your ways about me because I did X, Y, and Z. Okay, well, I know that you're not that community for me. So really just being able to have the safe space to say, guys, I'm coming to you because this is what I feel, this is what I did, this is what I said, this is what I didn't do, and, you know, I'm bringing it to the community, I'm bringing it to the group.
That happened for me in that community when I was in a secret space, dealing with something in my own life and just dealing with it on my own. And then it was bubbling over there, and I was participating in this community, and it got to one of those chapters in the book, and I can't even remember what chapter it was, but I had to make a decision. I had to do something. I could no longer continue the secret thing that was going on over here and then trying to pretend to be the other thing going over here. And I love what you say about the condemnation and the judgment, because the literal word judgment means I'm getting ready to sentence you to life. And literally, you don't have the authority to do that. So I don't feel judged. Right? If you're judging me against the word of God, then the Lord is judging me, right? And so those are how the word, I actually had to redefine that for myself. But it was a safe space, as you talk about, to actually talk about that. And while it may have been shocking to hear from the community, they did not, what we use, judge me, condemn me. They were like, oh my God, Erica, we kind of knew, we didn't know for sure, but I am glad. And this is a safe space to talk about. And the community walked me through that to where my heart was able to be in a place to actually deal with the situation strong and take a stronger stance in it, and actually not allow it to affect me in a negative way. So that community that existed and that does exist allowed me to do that very thing. And so if you don't have community like that, if you are seeking community like that, it starts with you for one. And it doesn't happen overnight, right? It takes time to bond. But notice you will have to be vulnerable. Because it's like going to a psychologist, right?
Yeah.
I could tell them, like, or a doctor. I could tell them my toenail hurt, but and if I give them that little bit, but the reality is I got this whole sciatic issue going on over here, and he can only deal with the toenail, right? I can't just give him part of the diagnosis or part of my issue, and then want a diagnosis for it. So if I'm gonna give it, then I'm gonna have a safe space to actually. What we sometimes hear is throw up on my friends, and actually allow them to then sort through get all the gook out of it, and then figure out what's the root of this issue.
Problem.
And say, Erica, you know what? You did the right thing, and here's some other things you need to fix and clean up in that. This is a safe space to talk about that, and we love you as a result of it, and we're going to walk with you through this. We're not going to let this situation actually overcome you or consume you. And that part is what you should be seeking in community, because that's a part of what a Bible study was like, Lord, make me whole. And walking in wholeness and start filling those holes, or those holes you put in your heart or in your being, and how you're showing up. And as we talk about legacy, it affects how you show up.
Absolutely.
Right? And how you treat people. So a safe space is very important in that community.
And you said something, I may just tell you one part of it, but that's not the root of the issue. And sometimes we become embarrassed, or we don't want to say all of what we are going through, or all of what we did, or our part in what we're going through, because we're like, I'm a little embarrassed that I actually did that, or that I actually said that, or I don't want them to look at me a little differently. I'm only going to give them a little bit.
The whole thing,
right? It's going to be a whole.
Do you want to be healed?
That part.
Do you want to walk differently? Do you want to be whole in that situation? And actually show up different,
right?
So that you can be an impact.
We went through a study called Unstuck, and that's really where it comes in, right? Getting unstuck of the things that are holding us down and preventing us to live a full, impactful life, so that we can impact our communities and we can impact and leave the legacy, right? Our legacy may be this big because we haven't unpack the junk that we've been holding on to.
Got us stuck back there. And it's stopping us from moving forward. And even when we run into bumps in the road in the community, that you still continue to actually surround and actually work within that till it works itself out to get to where God would have it to be. Because he honors that, right? And that we could be honest and truthful, and that we could actually walk through it.
Right.
And, it takes forgiveness. It takes saying, I'm sorry, I apologize. It takes walking in restoration is what I call it. Restoring people back into community, and, seeking people to join such a community, because you don't want to keep it so close-knit that nobody else, you guys, now it looks cliquish.
Right.
But we want to then go and be disciples in that area, right? Teach them how to develop communities and have community, and how important it is for community in life. When you don't have anybody to talk to at night, or anybody to share something you need to go through, who's going to tell you truth, and actually, as much as it may hurt, you will cry through it, you'll be glad for it, and then come out on the other side doing what God would have you to do. Because nothing will be minus his leading. Right. And it should give you peace. It should be like, yep, they said it, but then God confirmed it and affirmed me, and now I'm walking in that. And it should not give you strife.
No, it should not. It should be everything in love. Everything in love. And so if you're feeling like, man, I don't have community, be a part of ours here. Of course, go and seek wherever you're at. Physical community, of course, but we are opening up our community for you to join us and be a part of ours. Leave your comments, leave your stories, and we're going to address them. We're going to talk about them, and we're going to come from a perspective of love and a perspective of accountability and a perspective of getting unstuck, because we want you to go out and live an impactful life. We want you to go out and leave the best legacy that you can leave, not only for yourself, but your family, your friends, your jobs, your careers, all of those things. There's another word. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, just strengthen the community you have, and be vulnerable in that community. And so you'll be better for it.
Yeah. The other word that you mentioned was submitted. To be submitted to be submitted to the community. And I was listening to a podcast, and it was talking about being submitted. And when you're submitted to someone, what he said was, you know that you're submitted when it feels like you're submitted, right? And what he meant by that was, when they're telling you to do something that you don't feel like doing, but you have submitted to that thing or to that community or to that person, and you still don't do what you feel like you should do. And so being submitted into community and being submitted to a group, if you bring your issues and your concerns to them and they're going, I don't think you should go that way, or, I don't feel like that's where it needs to happen. I feel like you should wait here. You got to be submitted to that, listen to it, and maybe hold off and let God confirm and affirm it for you. But don't move until your community says this is good.
And if the flesh rise up, then we're going to walk with you through the consequence.
Yeah.
This consequence we can't predict.
Right.
And God says you will have consequences, right? So even if you submit to community and you really then leave community and go submit to flesh, then there will be consequences. But as community, listen, you need it. You need to submit to it, get involved in it, be vulnerable in it. But it is very important, and it has been life-changing for us to actually be in community and talk about that.
Absolutely. So, again, we want you to be a part of ours. We want you to continue to join this conversation with us. Make sure you like, subscribe.
Yes.
Turn on the notification bell. Go to our social media handles on Facebook and Instagram, and we're even on TikTok.
Oh
I don't know how many dances we're going to do on TikTok, but we're even on TikTok. But go and be a part of what we're sharing here. And please leave some comments. Leave us your stories. We would love to connect with you. We would love to share on our podcast some of the things that you are getting from us, and leave us topics that you want us to discuss. The community is so important. You are important.
Yes.
An important asset to the community. You matter. You are valuable, and we want you to go and live an impactful life.
Yes. You are an impact that never dies. So join us.
Awesome. Well, we will see you on our next episode. Thank you for joining us. Have a great week.
Yes.